In the peaceful suburb of Avon Lake, Ohio, Daniel and Linda Moore were the kind of couple people envied. Married for 18 years, with 2 teenage children and a home that oozed warmth and stability, they seemed untouchable. But on a frosty January morning in 2022, Linda Moore was found dead in the bathtub, an apparent suicide. The autopsy would later tell a different story. What began as a tragic accident soon unraveled into one of the most calculated betrayals the community had ever seen. Daniel Moore, 44, was a respected accountant with a small but loyal clientele. Linda, 42, worked part-time as a floral designer and was known for her kindness and active role in the community. Neighbors called them picture perfect. They hosted BBQs in the summer, sent holiday cards in December, and cheered for their kids at every school game. But behind the smiles, Linda had been struggling. She confided in her sister, Rachel, about Daniel's coldness, his frequent late nights, and how he'd become a stranger in their home. "I think he's having an affair," she texted in December 2021. Her instincts were correct. Daniel had been having a year-long affair with Amanda Taylor, a 33-year-old yoga instructor he met at a local wellness center. Amanda was vibrant, ambitious, and completely unaware Daniel was still deeply embedded in his family life. He told Amanda he was separated, living in the same house for the kids. In reality, he was lying to both women. Amanda later told police. He said his wife was emotionally unstable. That she refused to sign the divorce papers. "I believed him." Daniel played both sides with clinical precision. On the evening of January 11, 2022, Daniel returned home after a long day at work. According to his statement to police, Linda was quiet but seemed fine. The kids were at a sleepover. Daniel claimed he went to bed early, and when he woke the next morning, he found Linda in the bathtub, submerged and unresponsive. Paramedics arrived at 7:16 a.m. Linda was pronounced dead at the scene. Daniel told police he believed she had taken her own life. There were no signs of forced entry. No note. Just a quiet, lifeless scene. The community mourned. Initial reports suggested drowning, but the coroner, Dr. Sandra Patel, found bruising around the neck, petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes, and signs of strangulation. Toxicology showed trace amounts of zolpidem, a sleep aid, in Linda's system, enough to disorient, not kill. The cause of death was ruled homicide by manual strangulation, staged to look like a suicide. Detectives reclassified the case. Investigators searched the Moore residence and found Linda's journal. "He's cold. Distant. I know he's hiding something. I checked his phone. A text from someone named Amanda. I confronted him. He denied everything. But I know." Detectives also subpoenaed Daniel's phone and financial records. They discovered dozens of texts to Amanda with phrases like "I can't wait for this to be over" and "soon, it'll be just us." Google searches such as "how to make drowning look accidental." A $10,000 withdrawal days before Linda's death. Amanda's phone revealed an exchange on January 10. "Amanda, you haven't done it yet." "Daniel, it has to look natural. I need one more night." That message sealed his fate. January 9, Linda confronts Daniel about Amanda. According to her sister, she was scared and considering filing for divorce. January 10, Daniel leaves work early but doesn't return home until late. January 11, 9:45 p.m., surveillance camera across the street shows Daniel bringing home takeout. Linda is never seen again. January 12, 6:45 a.m., Daniel calls 911, claiming he found Linda in the tub. On February 1, 2022, after weeks of building evidence, Daniel Moore was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, providing false statements to police. He maintained his innocence, claiming Linda took sleeping pills and slipped in the bath. But the forensic evidence and Amanda's cooperation were too strong. Amanda agreed to testify in exchange for immunity. The trial began in September 2022. Prosecutors presented a clear narrative: Daniel wanted out of the marriage, but not the financial and social consequences of divorce. With a mistress pushing for commitment and a wife catching on, Daniel made a deadly decision. The defense argued there was no direct proof of Daniel's hand in the murder. But then came the neighbor's garage camera footage. At 2:13 a.m. on January 12, it showed Daniel exiting the house with a large duffel bag and gloves, carrying it to his car's trunk. He later claimed it was old clothes for donation, but investigators found inconsistencies in his route, and the bag was never located. After 6 days of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict. Daniel was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Amanda, though not charged, vanished from public life, moving out of state. She later gave an interview, tearfully admitting, "I thought I was in love. I didn't know I was part of a murder story." Linda's children moved in with her sister Rachel, who started a foundation in Linda's memory to support victims of domestic deception and psychological abuse. Linda wasn't just a victim of murder. She was a victim of manipulation, Rachel told a local news outlet. Daniel didn't raise a hand until the very end, but the emotional violence started long before that night. The house was sold within months. Neighbors say no one stays long. As for Daniel Moore, he remains in Ohio State Penitentiary, filing appeal after appeal, all denied. Daniel Moore wasn't a criminal in the eyes of the world until he was. His betrayal wasn't just in who he loved, but in how far he went to escape the life he built. In the end, his double life cost an innocent woman hers. A cheating heart is tragic. But a cheating heart with a plan is lethal.